Hi, I'm Phil Bell, Group Editor of Classic Cars.
I'm Richard Gooding, Production Editor of Classic Cars.
I'm Sam Dawson, Content Editor of Classic Cars.
We're here to talk about our grandest tours, right car, wrong car, because we've all been on great trips and sometimes the car has really made the trip and sometimes, let's be honest, it's fought against us. So Sam, do you want to kick off and give us an example of one from your past?
Right car or wrong car? Well, I suppose one of the examples of getting it spectacularly wrong was actually taking a punt on a car that I didn't know I was going to get. Because I figured that actually there comes a point where modern cars are so competent that even your average runaround has got the kind of abilities a GT car had back in the 60s, 70s. And my wife and I went on holiday to northern Spain, and we were landing in Santander. We were going to pick a car up and drive off into the Picos Europos, which is a lot like the Alps. I mean, you've got these sort of sun-drenched beaches at the bottom, and then you wind your way up these precipitous bends, and then at the top you're into snow belts and cows with bells on their necks. It's like going through 3 different countries in one day. Incredible drive. And we realised that you could actually get a cheaper deal on hire cars if you get a small car-based van rather than a car. So we thought, okay, we'll tick the smallest box because we'll get a Fiesta with boarded up rear windows or something like that. It'll be good fun to chuck around in the bends. And we arrived at the hire car firm and they said, oh, we've given you an upgrade, and gave us a transit van. So we're going up these tight, twisting mountain passes in this thing that's just wide. It's overhanging the middle line sometimes of the road. The mirrors are enormous. Every time now and then you clip a tree with them. You're having to stop every time anything hoves into view the other way. So they were roads that would have been perfect for a kind of rally-bred GT, like an Audi Quattro or something like that. And we were in the sort of thing that, a builder might turn up to your house full of ladders. So yeah, right drive, wrong car.
Richard, have you got an example?
Yes, mine again is wrong car, right drive, I guess. It was one of these experience day type things where you experienced lots of classics in one go. And this was set in North Wales, and for some reason after the lunch break, myself and another driver had a Fiat 500, an original one, and for some reason, or we think it was this reason, there was a page missing in the route book. So we turned left out of the inner stop rather than right, and we were going up all these mountainous hills in North Wales in this Fiat 500 that was screaming its head off. We had to double declutch every time we wanted to change gear. But it managed it, although we did find later on in the day it was on the back of a low loader. So whether we'd done it,
How you killed it
or not, I don't know. But it did make for a memorable afternoon, certainly.
Back in 2000, I had quite a memorable one. So I was invited to take part in a Rallye des Alpes, which was a retrospective event celebrating the original Alpine rally of the 50s. And I got to do this event in the Jaguar XK120 that had won it 3 times between 1950 and 1952. So an incredible moving experience and an amazing car, that powerful twin cam engine, beautiful roadster body, but on those Alpine roads with really vague steering, recalcitrant gear change, which made all the hairpins really hard work. And then drum brakes, which tended to fade when you were hammering down an Alpine pass, approaching a bend, and the brakes are getting hotter and the pedals getting more and more spongy. And then on top of that, you had what little luggage space there was filled with a spare wheel and all the tools. So an amazing experience, but not really the perfect Grand Tourer. Sam, you must have another example.
This is a case of right journey, right car. A few years ago, I say a few, it's probably like 10. And I just feel ancient, but we celebrated the 30th anniversary of the TVR Chimera. And to do that, we decided to take two of them, the bottom and top of the Chimera range, the 400 and the 500, back to Peter Wheeler's old house in the Forest of Bowling, and then over to Blackpool on the northwest coast of England. But the place where we found the cars was in Hexham, just outside Newcastle. So essentially, I had this coast-to-coast drive to do in order to get the cars to where we were going and back again. So I went coast-to-coast twice in a day, and the car was absolutely perfect. You had that wondrous great big Rover V8 up front, which had all the power you needed for a trip like that. The car was nimble, and yet it wasn't balanced on a razor's edge in the way that TVR is in the kind of stereotypical imagination. It was beautifully balanced, poised, placed on the road. I could have just kept going. I could have driven it all the way to Scotland and not got bored. The interior is a beautiful place to sit. And yet the funny thing is, if you mention TVR, it doesn't usually come in a discussion of great Grand Tourers. And yet I would have rather have been in that car than so many others of that era, which are also great. The Aston Martin DB7, Jaguar XK8 and so on. They're great cars, but they lacked the excitement factor that gave the TVR its edge. And there was that sense that once you got into the Forest of Bowland, onto those twisty mountain roads, you could enjoy it like a sports car. And yet it wasn't going to punish you in the way that, as I say, stereotype follows TVR around. What a great all-rounder, and what a great journey.
I should never have sold my TVR, but moving on. Richard, tell us about one of your experiences.
All-rounders, picking up on your Quattro thing earlier on. Similar setup, similar day, but the Quattro was, well, it was the best car of that day, I think. You could just, as soon as we got into it, it was an 84 red, Ronal alloys, so the typical, I guess, Quattro look, with the green and pink tigery interior. But you could just tell immediately that it was born to do what it did and do it well. It was, it gripped really nicely. It was quick. It could keep up with modern traffic, and it was just, a brilliant all-rounder, and we loved it.
Where did you drive it?
North Wales.
Perfect.
So,
Yeah, spiritual home.
you could imagine, the drivers doing what they did back in the 80s. Why they were so.
From a Fiat 500 to a Quattro Turbo in one day. That's quite an experience. I suppose the one that springs to mind from mine was another very privileged trip that I went on. This time it was Mercedes were celebrating 60 years since Stirling Moss and Dennis Jenkinson had won the Mille Miglia, which, as you know, that's a 1,000-mile loop of Italy, taking in the most challenging and amazing and quite dangerous roads. So my drive for just one section of it was a Mercedes 300 SL Gullwing, which really was the supercar of its day. That powerful straight six engine, fuel injected, and independent rear suspension, which should make handling on tricky roads a great advantage, in theory. But the thing about the Mercedes, it had this swing axle design of rear suspension, which under heavy braking would tend to jack up the back of the car. The rear wheels would like to tuck in, and the car really wanted to spit you off into the scenery backwards. So what you had to do on those downhill tight bends is do all your braking really hard and then get off the brakes and get back on the throttle quite smartly to power yourself around the bend, which was a real battle of instinct over what you knew you should do. But aside from that, it had some other factors that in theory also made it a good Grand Tourer, because to meet Le Mans regulations, those cars had to be able to carry luggage. And those amazing gullwing doors were really designed so that that luggage could be put into the car. But the slight downside was you couldn't have retracting windows like you would on a normal sports car or a GT. So you had a couple of tiny little quarter lights and some vents. And what it meant was at the end of an amazing day driving these amazing roads, the occupants were pretty much as cooked as the Italian meal we were going to have that evening. So amazing car, a great Grand Tourer, but like so many cars, it had its flaws.